But the AI that we have right now, as it happens, is better at making up bullshit. As I wrote 3 years ago, I just looked up the quote. I called it a fluent spouter of bullshit, and that is still true. You know, if you work with ChatGPT or Claude or any of these things, and you ask it to generate your own biography, for example, it will make up what colleges you went to and maybe who your advisors were. And it will all sound fine. My favorite example is somebody wrote a biography of me with, I think it was ChatGPT, and it alleged that I had a pet chicken named Henrietta from whom I drew inspiration. And these systems just put together random bits of statistics. So they break everything they see into little tiny bits, and then they reconstruct them. Sometimes they plagiarize, because plagiarism is actually the most probable outcome. And sometimes they just make stuff up, and they are literally indifferent to truth.
Throughout history, new technologies that significantly change how people interact and access information have often been met with fear and concern. But there's something about how AI is being marketed, the way the media and others are portraying AI as some sort of technological boogeyman or some technological messiah that will save humanity from itself. It's either be afraid of AI because it's coming to a theater near you, be afraid of AI because it's going to take away your jobs, be afraid of AI because it could end up destroying the world, or praise be AI because it will usher in the new utopia. Where have I heard that before? Don't get me wrong about AI, it really could be the catalyst to end up hurling man into his final abyss. But the key difference is this is a choice by his own making. It's the Frankenstein paradox. The monster would not have become evil if Frankenstein, the inventor, didn't create a life that had that darkness. He himself was a slave to his own lack of understanding of that life, the consequences of his own flaws, creating without sound reason, judgment, and precaution. And that goes the same for all of man's inventions, because most inventions that are made with a short-sighted view of making profit, and that's the real danger. Trains, telephones, and even television were once viewed by many as a potential dystopian technologies. Back in the first days of TV, there was some actual cause for concern. General Electric shipped a bunch of faulty TV sets in the late 1960s. How faulty? They emitted dangerous X-rays, so officials warned against sitting too close. The problem was fixed, but the damage was already done. Warnings to stay far away from TV sets have persisted since then, all from a shoddy factory job. The camera, when photography was first introduced, it was a new and unfamiliar technology, and people's reactions often included a sense of wonder and awe, as well as some fear and superstition. Spirit photography. In the 19th century, the spiritualist movement embraced photography as a way to provide scientific proof of the existence of spirits, and believed that cameras could capture images of discarnate beings. This further contributed to the association of cameras with the spiritual realm. The fear of AI for many people is a justifiable one. Digital technology has replaced humans in countless fields: ATMs, self-scanning checkouts, factory machines, or digital stores replacing physical ones. We're working towards self-driving cars, care robots, and all sorts of automation software. Elon Musk declared that machines imbued with general intelligence and self-learning pose a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. But is this statement true? In short, the answer is yes and no, but the answer is also, that depends. Technology is an inanimate, amoral tool brought forth into this reality by those who created it. This unparalleled, unique ability to create a tool that is neither good nor bad. For example, even if a bomb that was created or invented isn't necessarily bad or good, It must first be armed with the intent to harm. It must first be aimed to target those to do harm to. It must first be programmed to be destructive to another. AI is not going to come into your house and knock down your door and replace you when you sleep. Like the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it's not purposely coming to take away all of humanity's jobs. But at the same time, it's strange to say this. That's exactly what will happen. It will take away jobs. The key to understanding this contradiction is it must be taught to do that by those who have always had that hyper-obsessive, controlling mindset. The same mindset that had children work in factories in the 1930s as cheap, expendable labor. The same mindset of those who have sweatshops. The same mindset of those who ship jobs overseas for cheaper labor. The problem is not AI, but its masters. To replace, it will be a cost-effective choice to them.
But how did this happen in the first place? The problem is almost certainly us. Yes, us. Because OpenAI tunes its models based on human feedback, and humans like it if they're being praised. Could you give this video a thumbs up, please? The problem then is that companies have a big incentive to create agreeable and sycophantic AI, because people are willing to pay for it. It's the same problem that we have with social media algorithms, built to keep you hooked and feed you whatever does the trick, whether that's salad recipes or moon landing conspiracies. It's not just OpenAI, of course. A recent study found that sycophantic behavior occurred in queries with Gemini, Claude, and GPT at a similar rate of about 60%. In roughly 15% of cases, the AI's tendency to be friendly and agree with the user resulted in replies which were just wrong.
The marketing of AI has always been misleading to get you to chase the hyperbolic uncertainties rather than look at the real monster that's sitting right next to you. This monster wears a suit and loves corporate spreadsheets. You guessed it, corporate greed. The immoral personality traits of a lot of these AI startup ventures will sell their own children if it meant large short-term profits. Whether a tool could be used to help or destroy has always been the paradox of humanity itself, the source of the divergence, and that is where the real horror hides, not in the technology itself, but in the paradoxical, destructive nature of man itself. To understand this man instinctively and most of the time unknowingly, what's some good intentions, puts onto his inventions a blueprint, a DNA of his behavior, and thus the inventions that come forth from his mind lose a lot of benign aspects, and the technology falls into the trappings of man's own instinctual bias, like an innocent child being born into the house of monstrous parents. That child will end up being corrupted. This brings us to AI. AI is an ambiguous creation. That is to say, it's a tool that has the potential, like all the other inventions before it, to transcend goodness or delve into madness. But that's the problem. It cannot be both. It cannot have the bipolar nature of his creator. Man's own chaotic nature is his duality, humanity's paradox of choice. And that's the problem with AI. AI will be infected with a unique flaw, the flaw of contradiction, and thus this duality is not a good thing. It will always compromise the invention, contaminating it with bias, greed, control, and of course hatred. Yes, there is good, kindness, but the clash of this duality isn't progress, but stagnation and rot. Just like all the other tools that were invented that were supposed to bring man to a new utopia. But in the end, look at us now, in the year 2025, still dealing with hunger, wars, inequality, and still driving gas-powered cars technology, no matter how advanced, hasn't changed that we're still at the tipping point of a global Great Depression. But in the end, these technological devices did end up destroying humanity, not because of the inventions of these devices themselves, but because of the same issue that connects them all, the people who abused them. These technical sociopaths turn a benign tool into a weapon of blood, death, and mayhem. For instance, the television, a miraculous tool that can display information and images across the nation and the world, was perverted and turned into a hub of gossip, slander, misinformation, propaganda, pornography, and violence that is now seen by those who should never see such things at a young age. The cell phone is another misused tool. Unviolated, it's a beautiful thing, a tool that allowed people to communicate with their families all across the world, and with its translation capabilities, its global uniting force was in front of us. But instead, this tool was now used for gossip, slander, addictive social apps, social isolation, technological anxiety, and more. The destructive lie of AI has always been purposely falsely advertised and misleading consumers, just like all these other tools of the past. These tools were never in themselves globally destructive. They weren't destructive at their inception, but were turned into tools of ruination by the real culprit, the most destructive technological, biologically advanced organism, man himself, who invents technology that is infected by the same self-destructing tendencies.
The problem is almost certainly us. Yes, us. Because OpenAI tunes its models based on human feedback, and humans like it if they're being praised.